In this video, we're going to give you an update
on me.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So we decided that we were going to take a moment, and by the time this comes out, it'll probably be the year anniversary, because we're about a month ahead on videos, and it's been a year since we made a video in this location. I think we might have been sitting up
we
on
were
the other
sitting
side,
facing the other way,
but it was the same spot where we announced that Mary Ann's had some health issues, and we wanted to give an update and tell you, what we've been through and where she's at, because should we say so far it's good news?
Yeah, so far it's good news. I went to the doctor again the other day and says everything looks good.
Everything's looking good, even all the blood work and everything. And if you watched our last video, Mary Ann was lifting like 40-pound bags of dirt and just moving right along, bending over, planning.
Yeah.
Okay, no pains when you were planning this time?
Just
soreness.
Just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been bent over for this long kind of soreness. It wasn't like it was hurting or I was having any problems. It was just literally, I don't exercise kind of feeling.
Yeah. So if
like,
you
oh my
did
goodness.
not, like if you're new to the channel and you found us through this video, I'll put a link. Oh, where's the link? Up here? I don't know.
Somewhere.
Up here down in the description to the video that we talked about last year. Actually, I can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
Already.
Yeah. It was a year this time, at the time of recording, that I was really in a lot of like pain in the evenings. Like we would come out, I would be really slow during the day, and then at night it was hard to sleep because I had pain.
To be honest, okay, so today is July 19th-ish, something like that.
Yeah, 19.
So it was actually around about now.
I was waiting for my appointment.
Where you were getting, you were having the pains. We were actually putting the larger gravel
the ones
in the
and
driveway.
twos were going in.
And you were bending over picking up the rebar. And I said to her, either you're going to the hospital or you got to go to the doctors. And I'm glad you decided to go to the doctors, because in case you didn't see the other video and you don't know, Mary Ann was diagnosed with
stage 3C ovarian cancer.
Yes, and that was a year ago. So we weren't really ones to go to the doctors on a regular basis. Now they pretty much have a special wing for us, because we've been to the doctor. You've been to the doctors quite a bit.
I have my own wing in several places now.
But it was just a divine intervention, so to speak, that we decided to come out here and work on the property, and you got sick. And I've never in my wildest dreams would I imagine you getting sick before me,
Oh yeah.
But
you always had aches and pains, and I never did.
Yeah, and I wanted to come out here and try to get in shape and try to get my body moving, try to work out some of those aches and pains, because the more I sit, the worse it gets. But then we did that, and you missed the start of school, first time in how many years?
25 years.
25 years. Guess what? You're not going to miss it this year.
I am actually going to miss the first day of school.
Wow.
I have a treatment on the first day of school for kids. Yeah, it's scheduled for the very first day.
Yeah, but it's just the first day. But then you're going back.
Yeah,
it's not
then
like you're going to be out for
months and months, like last
time. So how long were you out? Let's kind of tell them the journey like we went through over the past year. And then we're only making this video not for sympathy or anything, but if there's other couples out there that's getting ready to go with this, it is scary. It's very scary, but I'll tell you, with a lot of support from friends and family and prayers and each other, we got through it. It was very hard at times. There was a couple real close calls. It wasn't all, I'm not going to tell you it was all, this is easy. But we did get through it. So I forget the point where I was trying to
I
make.
missed 134 days of school last year.
Yeah, and I missed 27.
Which I normally don't miss any.
Yeah, very rarely.
I think that I
If
had
ever.
probably missed, for illness, I probably missed 10 days in all of my teaching. And then I, of course, missed like probably about another 10 or 12 for my professional development conferences and things.
But by not having and using up those sick days, you were able to bank them.
Yeah, and
myself as well. I did a lot of work from home, taking care of you, but thankfully we had those banked up
days.
That you did have the sick days, and obviously you had a doctor's excuse.
Yeah, yeah. I always saved them, you know, because I thought it was harder for me not to be at work than it was to be at work. And I didn't really get sick very often. I might have gotten a cold in like October or December, one of the two every year, but it was like literally just a tiny cold. Like I took a couple of cold pills and I was fine.
We actually did fairly well through COVID.
Yeah.
Because we think that we may have had it like before it was even announced that it was COVID, and but who knows. But we were very careful and everything through COVID, and we're very careful anyways. Working in a school, we try to.
Yeah. Plus, working in a school, you build up your immunity quite
system,
easy.
which you're going to have to redo now. But
yeah.
So, anyways, that was one of the drawbacks, missing a lot of work. But the appointments, the doctor's appointments, every 3 weeks?
I go every 21 days still.
Still, but before, over the past year, your chemo was every 3 weeks, right? Luckily, we found a place local in Boardman, which was like 10 minutes from us. We could have went back to Akron. That was an option. That's who did her surgery. But we thought with it being closer, that might be better, which in most cases on her days of chemo, those were actually pretty decent days. I mean, she would come home, we would have a nice dinner. You really never got nauseous with the chemo. You did with the surgery, but it was the after effect, and it was your immune system crashed, your white blood cells, and you had to take a booster for that, and that was hard.
That was the worst part. That and the port were the two things that, like, if I had to do it again, it was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to go through those two things again.
Which is one thing I think we should mention too. Mary Ann's kind of small and stature, whatever. Not a lot of body fat up around her shoulders and everything like that. We were originally told, oh yeah, the port, piece of cake, not a problem. That was hard. That was hard on you.
That was way harder.
A long time.
That was way harder on me than my initial surgery where they gutted me like a fish.
Yeah.
Like I have like a 14.5-inch scar on my abdomen, and that was nothing in comparison to the port.
Which is another tip too.
Yeah.
As a patient, you get prescribed a lot of pain medication. A lot. And thankfully, your sister, God sent with Joanne to help me get through this. You as well. But just the tip, stay on top, stay ahead of the pain. Try to don't let it lapse with your pain medicine, because once it does, it's so hard to get back to feeling decent.
Yeah, but at the same time,
with
don't take more than you need,
right.
Because I didn't even take any of the medication really that they prescribed me. I took the heavy dosage Tylenols, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and then you went to over-the-counter Tylenol.
Yeah.
But you stayed on top of it. You were taking it faithfully every 4 or 5 hours. You would take it. Even in the middle of the night, you would stay on top of it. And then you were on another medication for your digestive system to kind of keep everything flowing good. You did well with that. We had to do a couple alternatives. to add to that with the apple juice and things like that. And you know, just listen to your doctors, and they know what they're doing when they and now what she's going through, since she's on the maintenance drug, it's one of the chemo chemicals that you were getting. It's the one, it's Avastin.
Avastin, yeah.
It's to stop the blood flow through to tumors, but it's one of the side effects is it causes muscle fatigue and pain in your muscles and everything, which they said, hey, take magnesium. So you've been taking that, and that's been helping.
Yeah.
And it does help to get up and move around. You know, some of you that are older, like me, I'm not gonna say her because I'm a lot older than her, but you know, if you just sit and don't do anything, you get stiff, and it, you know, you got to keep moving, even if you don't want to. Just get up and walk your driveway, or you know, and yeah. I felt bad at times, but I'm glad I did it. Where I would say, hey, you got to take a lap, and you go walk the driveway, and just keep moving, keep your body moving. We're meant to be active, not to just sit around, which is, I think, very helpful you getting through this. And then you got to the point, I mean, we celebrated that's another tip too, celebrate every tiny little milestone that you get through. I was really excited the first time when you had the CT scan in November, and they're like, oh, you just got a tiny little whatever. The doctors weren't worried about it. I'm like, woohoo, they got it all and everything. She's like, no, there's a tiny, well, but I was celebrating. But
that was not November, that was the March one, but in November they didn't see anything.
Didn't see anything in November. In March
they saw a tiny little, they called it a Rice Krispie or grain of rice size thing.
Yeah, which, by the way, not to get off the topic of what I was on, but she just recently had another CT scan and everything's good. So that little rice thing's gone.
The little rice thing is absent this time in the things. Yeah.
So, but all the little milestones, like the first time we were able to make it around the block walking, we celebrated. You know, just those little things. And if you keep up with the little things, it's going to add up to be overall, everything's great. Are we completely out of the woods? No, you never will be with cancer. But as long as you stay on top of it and you stay, you know, celebrate the little things in life and the little goals, and that's why we're a little bit slower out here this year trying to get things accomplished, is because we're trying to get Mary Ann back to the health. I'm a little bit more out of shape this year because I wasn't out here in the beginning, and I was taking care of the house and Mary Ann and stuff like that. Not saying that that's not being active, but it wasn't like cutting down trees and chopping logs and stuff like that. But yeah, so just celebrate the little things, right? Yep. That was a long drawn out point, but that was what I was trying to make.
Yeah, it was long, but it's okay.
You have anything else as far as tips if somebody's got to go through what we're going through?
Just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, walk around as much as you can. I would try to add an extra lap around the driveway every day. When I had the original surgery, to kind of keep pushing myself and making sure that things went well and nothing got, you know, I didn't get blood clots and things like that. Then once like I got well enough that I was having the treatments and things like that, they were always trying to, you know, make sure that I had pain medications and nausea medications and all this stuff. But truly what they gave me, whatever cocktail I had during the chemotherapy appointments, it worked, and I didn't need any of that extra stuff. And
you came home from treatment and you're like, she even had the munchies.
I did.
Like a couple of those times I just couldn't get enough food in. So like, what else you got? And it was like, really? You just had chemo? Because most of the time you think, like, from the movies and stuff, people who have chemo, they're just sick and can't eat. They just wither away. That does happen. Yeah. But you were just like, what else you got?
Yeah. And then when
that's
you
another
continue
thing I want to say about the. Go ahead.
When you continue on and you're starting to, you know, you're moving and progressing through, just keep having goals. Like I had a goal to get back to school. Like, I wanted to get back. Like, I needed to do that.
And you set your goal of being back for the National Honor Society induction ceremony.
At the latest.
And you made it.
And I did. 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
Well, it was a day earlier that I went back, but I was allowed 2 days earlier, but
So,
I gave myself
I'm
one
going to
more
say
day.
this on camera to everyone. I'm so proud of my wife. I mean, she set that goal to be back there. She stood up in front of what, 400 or 500 people? Gave her speech, no hair. And I think we were doing the swapping of the shoes type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a little behind the scenes stuff to make it happen, but you did it.
Yeah.
You
Because I
pulled it
had to wear heels with
She
my
was very
skirt to go up on
determined
stage. Come on.
to do it, and it was very emotional for me. But just the fact that you were still around was nice.
Yeah.
But you hit that goal, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
So the point that I was thinking about, because my job was like taking care of her, and then taking care of the house and food and stuff like that. You had come home one time, I think it might have been like the third, maybe the fourth treatment, and they were saying that your blood count was low.
Mm-hmm.
And if it didn't bounce back, you would have to have a
Blood transfusion.
blood transfusion.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be able to have my treatments. I'd have to have blood transfusions until they were up high enough that I could have.
So we did some research and talking with Joanne and things like that. We changed the diet. Did loaded up on red meat.
Yeah.
I mean, red meat, broccoli. I got my broccoli recipe like perfect.
He does.
Broccoli, beets, and stuff like that. And there's certain things with ovarian cancer. I mean, and I don't think we heard this from the doctor. You did from your reading, because they give you pamphlets and stuff. Things that you have to stay away from. Cranberries. She loves cranberries.
Well,
you can't eat cranberries.
I can't.
Well, maybe you can now.
Yeah, it's not. So the cranberries actually cranberries, onions, and garlic actually lower your blood count.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't eat any of that during my treatment because my blood count was so low. If I ate that stuff, it would go lower. And I love cranberries. I love garlic. The onions, I like the flavor, but I don't like the texture. So I'll only eat the dehydrated onions that we rehydrate in food.
We eat a lot of garlic.
But we eat a lot of garlic, and I love cranberries on
Not
salads
for about
and
9 months you didn't.
And so you have to look at what you have to stay away from and things like that.
Read
too.
the fine print. Read the thing, and look at dietary to help, because you didn't have to have any additional medication, anything. It
Except
was all
for the blood
dietary.
boosters. They gave me the blood boosters.
That was for the white blood cell count.
Yeah.
But for the
Red
blood cells,
yeah.
to bring them back up, we did it all through diet, and it worked.
Yeah.
So that was, we wanted to watch because
Of course, my cholesterol went up a little bit, but
shot through the roof,
my primary care doctor says it's fine. Yeah. He's like, it's all good.
Well, if you knew what you were eating, hamburgers, steaks, so whatever. But yeah, we did it through diet, and we were trying to watch the medication, okay, because liver was.
Yeah, my liver counts have been very bad. Like, even before, like, this, back years ago, they're like, your liver counts are high. So, like, my liver counts have always been high.
Yeah.
And when this happened, they were like skyrocketed. So like
we were kind of watched. You don't need any additional medication,
right,
if possible. So
yeah.
So another thing too, as we were going through this together, mainly you, but as a couple, it seemed like every time that you went for a treatment or for something, it was something different.
Oh yeah, it's
there was
always something new.
When we got comfortable with the
routine.
With the routine. Okay, so many days after the chemo, we got to do this, or leading up to the chemo, we got to do this, that kind of thing. Every time it was different. So if you're going through this, expect that. Like, expect it just to be okay. Well, how they hand you something else. How are we going to deal with that? you know, like I said, the white blood cell count dropping, the liver counts going up, the red blood cell. I mean, every time you went, it was something. And then when you had the allergic reaction, she had allergic reaction twice, which was very scary. That's why I keep saying there was a couple times where it got really bad. The first time was your first treatment.
Mm-hmm.
She was allergic to one of the chemicals, and you immediately went into
anaphylaxis.
Yeah. And they had to flush everything out. And
my whole body.
That was scary. That took a couple days to recover from that, and they had to skip the treatment. And that kind of pushed you. You had to take. I had to take an extra treatment. An extra one because of that. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when you went in for your first treatment, your actual doctor was not there. He was out on vacation, so that's why they had to. Well, okay, we're just going to wait. And then that November, which was the first treatment for the booster. White blood cell booster. The reaction that finally it became routine. Like we knew that a week after she has that, there's going to be issues. Mm-hmm. Well, when you got the first one, had no idea. You had no idea what was going on. I mean, heart rate was extremely accelerated, fever. I mean, there were so many different things. I actually, because since it was a week after, the oncologist, they thought, okay, something's wrong, get her to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So we went to the hospital. They tested her for everything, tested her for heart attack. I mean, they even did a gallbladder test, liver test, all the organs tested, everything. That's when you had the second CT scan, because they didn't know what was going on. And the funny thing is like after 3 days of being in the hospital, they really never said what was wrong. They just, you can go home. Because the issues went away. Yeah, they found nothing wrong with anything on me, and the symptoms went away. That was very scary. If we would not have gone to the hospital, it could have turned out differently, because they immediately put you on like saline and stuff like that. And I think you just had an allergic reaction to the booster a week later. Yeah. And because you're weird. You're allergic to a lot of I am weird stuff. Because even to this day, like all the doctors, they're like, there shouldn't have been a reason that should have happened a week afterwards, and it happened every time I got one. So I know that's what it is. Yeah. But they said it shouldn't have been that delayed. So there has to be something in that medicine that was somewhat equivalent to what you were belong the same family, something that I don't know. I don't know, but my body didn't like it, but I was able to power through it with heating pad and Tylenol and lots of fluids and just rest, laying. It was in a lot of pain. Yeah. But the point of that is just you'll get through it. Every day is a different scenario, but just get through it. Just be happy. Hey, you're awake. Your eyes are open. What's today's challenge? Yeah. Now I am on maintenance. You mentioned. And my maintenance is not the normal maintenance, because I don't have the genes that say I should have gotten this. So a normal medication wouldn't work for me, or won't really do much good for me. So we're not going that route. Instead, the doctor has me going back every 21 days for an Avastin infusion. So it's kind of like going for chemo treatment like I was, but I don't get all the chemo drugs. I just get the Avastin, and they give me a Benadryl shot all the time before I get it, just to kind of prepare my body and make sure that my body doesn't freak out and be like, hey, you can't have this, and have a allergic reaction. So those ones, instead of coming home and being, I gotta get things done, I'm hungry, I want to do, I get real tired. Yeah, take a nap. So the Benadryl doesn't wear off before the end of my treatment, and so I gotta come home and take a nap. So it takes a couple hours, and then I'm okay again. And I keep checking her with a mirror. Make sure it's just a nap. But the longer I've been doing these, and I've had the aches and pains since, but it started out where when I went back to work, I had
pains in my neck and my shoulder, like so just bad, and just it was a big knot, and he would rub on it all the time and try to, you know, wear it up. And then by like if I would wear flat shoes, my ankles would just hurt and I couldn't walk by the end of the day. I was kind of scuffling down the hall to get back to leave the building, and school nurse actually stopped me a couple times. She's like, are you okay? But if I wore high heels, I was perfectly fine, no problem. It was not an issue at all. Now, over the summer, probably about 4 weeks ago it started, where I had a lot of aches in my knees and lower legs, and the bottoms of my feet in the heels feel like I'm walking just on solid bone, like there's nothing there. And it was so painful, it was so hard to walk, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel worse now that I'm cleared than I did when I had the cancer. It is. And so I had a couple of doctor appointments, you know. I had this problem for about, almost 2 weeks before my appointment. Yeah. And I went in, and my primary care doctor said, go ahead, take a couple 100 milligrams of magnesium a day, and it should help ease it. And so I had a chemo doctor appointment the next day, and I told him what the doctor had told me, and he agreed. He wanted to double it. He said, go ahead and take 400, don't take 5. He says 500.
Oh, he said 400.
Yeah, he said if you take 500, it'll give you diarrhea. And I'm like, okay. So I went out to look for it. He wanted me to do 400 milligrams, and the ones that I found at the store were 250 milligrams. And so cutting one in half is still not going to get me to 400. I didn't want to do 2, so I just stuck with 250. I like to do less anyway. So what's actually funny is he said that he could give me something else too, but I know you won't take it. I'm like, oh, you know me so well already. So he said, yeah, just stick with the magnesium. And it did. After about 2 or 3 days, it was like so much better. And now it's just in my ankles and the bottoms of my heels. Really the rest of it I figured out. But I do feel better when I'm moving around and doing things and active. Like at night, it bothers me a lot more when I'm sitting down.
So she could have took the path of, taking all the pain meds to mask the problems and kill the pain, which you probably would be more active to maybe solve the problem. But instead of taking all those pain meds, we're trying to figure out the root of it, and the magnesium is helping.
Yeah, and if you look it up and that, it's actually supposed to support, muscles and bone and issues there, and so that's exactly what I'm having, and it's working out.
The video that we did about the tea,
forgot about the tea.
That really wouldn't help in what you're having now. It helps me when I drink it, but that's mainly for like joint pain
and that's not
what you were having before. With the pains and the joints and stuff like that, with the booster, that was helping with that. But now it's more muscles. Yeah. But pretty strong cookie not to take all them pain meds. You're not even taking Tylenol now.
No, I don't. I just take 1 magnesium oxide tablet a day, and then my Avastin every 21 days. Yeah.
So. I guess the point of this entire video is to, it's a life-changing experience. But from the support, like I said before, of friends and family, always checking in, saying prayers and everything, you'll get through it. And just expect every day to be different, and be thankful, and celebrate small little goals, and eventually you'll get to a big goal, which is where we're at now. Right now, as of this point, everything's looking great. But got to keep an eye on it and go from there.
Yeah, so I had a regular doctor appointment the other day, And the checkout nurse, she asks me how I've been doing. You know, she's like, "You look good. How are you doing?" You know, and I told her, I said, "Well, I've gone through a few stages," because she asked about my hair. And so I have decided I've gone through a few stages. So I started out with the Mr. Clean look. Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean.
If I would have taken out one of my earrings, I swear, and wore a white top, I would have been Mr. Clean.
And that's how she did her presentation in front of everybody when she went back, looking like.
So I went from Mr. Clean look to G.I. Jane.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my little buzz look all around, and we went to a restaurant, and they actually thought I was a guy. They, you know, was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I had that look, and now I'm in what I'm calling my Gosier look. So my Gosier look, I don't know how, I had the hat on, but like I look like Gosier from Ghostbusters now when I get out of the shower.
So
and
you gotta say it. Are you a god?
No, I can't do that line, but the Gosier lady at the end, the traveler that had like all the, she just looked creepy and ugly with those red eyes and all those.
Yeah,
it
but
looked
you don't
like
look creepy and ugly.
Well, I don't have giant
But you
red
just have her
eyes.
hair.
I just have her hair, but she's the one that had all the like. It looked like soap bubbles for an outfit. But anyways, I'm supposed to not have direct sunlight for the Avastin, so I kind of still am wearing my ugly hat. But we'll see.
Okay. Anything
your
else
state.
you would like to add to this video?
Goes your state. I don't know when I'll get back to the Southern Belle State, but right
You're
now,
getting there.
Gosier.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think I've rambled and you've rambled enough.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up. So if you like this series and everything we're doing out here on Donley Cove, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you or somebody that you know are going through health issues like this, go ahead and share them the video. And if you have questions, leave them in the comments. We don't get a lot of questions, but if you have any, let us know. And we'll either address them in the comments or make a video about them. Okay, folks, till next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting.